This video covers everything we did in class today on Thursday, February 17th. You can see the learning target on the first slide here. I can use a tape diagram to represent a situation and find an unknown value. We did Unit 6, Lesson 2, Activities 1, 2, and some practice. Then we took an exit ticket. On slide 2, you'll see the do now. The first thing I want you to do is pause this video and complete the do now. And I'll go over a few questions once you've completed it. Okay, so if you have 2 to the 5th power, you know that 2 to the 5th power means that you're multiplying 2 5 times. The exponent 5 tells you how many times you're multiplying the base 2. So you have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. I know that 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2 is 8, times another 2 is 16, times another 2 is 32. And so I have a final answer of 32. Similarly, if I have 5 to the 3rd power, I have 5 times 5 times 5, because my exponent of 3 tells me to multiply 5 3 times, which gives me a final answer of 125. Now, when I have an exponent to the 1st power, like 9 to the 1st, I know that I just have one 9, and so my final answer is 9. Let's take a look at the main lesson on slide 3. Slide 3, let's use tape diagrams to make sense of different kinds of stories. 2.1, Notice and Wonder, Remembering Tape Diagrams. I want you to start by pausing this video and telling me, what do you notice and what do you wonder? Then answer question 2. What are some possible values for A, B, and C? So what number could A be, what number could B be, and what number could C be? And what about for X, Y, and Z in the second diagram? Go ahead and pause this video and answer the questions on slide 3. You'll notice that in both of these diagrams, there are variables, meaning letters to represent a number of possible numbers, or any possible number. When it asks you what are some values for A, B, and C, it's asking you to speculate, what could A, B, and C be equal to? Here's an example. Let's say that A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 2. I can choose any number for A and B because I'm just putting them together. I know that if I combine A as 1 and B as 2, then the value of each individual box will simply be 3. That means that I can't pick any value as C. C has to be 4 groups of 3 because I've already decided that A and B are 1 and 2. So A is 1 and B is 2, which means I'm adding 1 plus 2 for 3, and I have 3, 3, and 3. And so that means that C has to be equal to 12 because C represents 4 groups of 3, which is 12. Now, remember, today's learning target is to be able to use tape diagrams to write and solve expressions. On slide 4, we're going to look at some situations where these diagrams are connected to real-world situations. 2.2, every picture tells a story. If you're absent, you can ignore the directions at the top because you won't be working with a group today. Instead, we'll just focus on each of the individual questions. Question 1. Mai made 50 flyers for 5 volunteers in her club to hang up around the school. She gave 5 flyers to the first volunteer, 18 flyers to the second volunteer, and divided the remaining flyers equally among the 3 remaining volunteers. Let's break down how this story relates to the diagram. Mai made 50 flyers in total, and so we see that the entire diagram is equal to 50. We also know that she gave 5 flyers to the first volunteer, and we see those 5 flyers in a box here. She gave 18 flyers to the second volunteer, which we see in the box here. And then she divided the remaining flyers up equally among the remaining 3 volunteers. We can see X, X, and X, which is 3 equal groups where she divided the remaining flyers amongst the remaining volunteers. Now, It's our job to figure out how much X is, or how many flyers each of the 3 remaining volunteers got. I know that this piece of the tape diagram here, 5 and 18, represents a total of 23 flyers because I have 5 and 18 combined. That means that this piece of the diagram here represents 27 flyers because if I had 23, I need another 27 to get my total of 50. In other words, 23 plus 27 is equal to 50 flyers in total, or 50 minus 23 equals 27. So I know that these 3 groups of X altogether are equal to 27. That means that to calculate the value of X, I can simply divide 27 split up into 3 groups, which equals 9 flyers per group. Or I should say, per volunteer. I can always check my work and just prove that if I replace the X with 9, I would end up with a total of 50. 5, 18, 9, 9, 9 adds up to 50. On slide 4, you have 2 more examples, question 2 and question 3. I want you to do the same exact thing we just did for question 1. In question 2, you'll find the value of Y, and in question 3, you'll find the value of W. Okay, you should have answered questions 2 and 3, and on slide 5, you'll see a summary of the lesson. Tape diagrams are useful for representing how quantities are related, and they can help us answer questions about a situation. There are 2 more examples here if you'd like to review. When you're finished with slide 4, you can head back to today's folder, and you'll want to complete the exit ticket that is in Thursday 2-17. When you're done, just make sure that you're all caught up on homework. You have tonight's assignment posted in Delta Math. I actually gave it out Monday, but it's due tomorrow. If you have any questions, send me an email.